taking your side piece to get fixed up by your main, Chicken Man operates in some very wild environments. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. Like I said, I'd be a little bit behind this week on everything. I got a bunch of shows that I'm talking about this week because I just came back from a wedding, and oddly enough, returned with a sinus cold. So if I sound a little bit stuffy, my apologies. I watched this on the plane, and so I am trying to remember this from what I saw immediately because this is a show that I absolutely love, and I watched this the second it was made available to me. So I watched this on Thursday. This is the fourth episode of Fight Night, the Million Dollar Heist, called Real Policework, which is a fascinating title because there is police work being done in a way by three different folks. Chicken Man, Gordon, is trying to investigate to create his innocence. Because right now he lives in a world where Frank believes that he was set up by Chicken Man. Even though Frank was down there with him and saw that he was at gunpoint and that Sweets had to do the dance and everything, could have all been an elaborate ruse. All Frank knows is that I wasn't going to this party. You sweet talked me into going to this party. And now I go to this party and I plus all the rest of the Black Mafia gets held up, stripped naked, made to look like fools. We can't let that go. And so Frank is also doing police work to basically figure out who is responsible for this and try to get some answers. And he's going after Chicken Man, Gordon, as fast as he possibly can. And the last piece of police work is from Detective J.D. Hudson, Don Cheadle, who is doing things, quote unquote, by the book. He's the one actually doing police work. This episode starts with Gordon, Chicken Man, taking Vivian Sweets to his main. Look, I said at the end of the last episode, I knew this is where he was going, but it's a lot to you have to have no other options if you think you have to take your side piece to your main house to get fixed up. And so he takes Vivian to Faye, his wife, and then runs off. So not only does he chooses violence, basically. Not only does he choose to bring her there, he then leaves the two of them to their own devices. It's a choice. And it's a choice that sort of bites him in the butt because as things go along, as Vivian and Faye begin to talk a little bit more, I don't think Faye's an idiot. I think Faye was well aware that inside home, Gordon is Gordon. And that's what he is referred to. She doesn't use the moniker Chicken Man at all in that house, but she knows outside in that world, he is Chicken Man. And so he does things that as long as he doesn't bring it home, I think he's fine. She's fine with it. It's now starting to come to her home and it's starting to bother her and the kids. And so it's having a bigger effect. And thus she's more concerned about what it does for her family. I think she's aware the second that Vivian comes in there that they are more than business partners. She so much as asks, and Vivian kind of does not answer. But that non-answer is an answer. What's fascinating, though, is I feel like Faye is less bothered by Gordon's extracurricular sexual activities and more bothered that you're bringing this heat on our house with this robbery and all that stuff. While Gordon is off trying to find his information, Detective JD is also doing so. He arrives on the scene of the heist and sees that there are a bunch of folks outside in various forms of undress, not really being treated like humans. Like he arrives onto the scene and having a bunch of white cops. It's a twofold piece. Having a bunch of white cops arrive on the scene for people they already thought less of, especially at this time, is one thing. You also have to realize that a lot of these people had more money than most of these folks on this police force. And so there's also that hidden thing of being jealous. So it's like, how the hell do these people have this? And so they're not really doing what they need to find out what actually happened here. And so you can hear some of them saying like, "Hey, we'll get the evidence. We'll keep it for ourselves. We'll do all of that." So JD is kind of in a world where he has to be the black man and the detective at the same time because none of these detectives are actually going to give a damn about solving this case. The way that he cares and the way that he actually responds and reacts to people when he interviews them, he's like, "Hey, can you get them some clothes now? Can you do this? Can you take care of them? Can you do this?" He's casing the scene and like he goes in and he asks the cops like, "Hey, have you canvassed this whole area and clear off this and this and that?" And these two white officers are like, "Well, no, we don't have enough people there." Mind you, there's tons of them there. They're all over the place. Um, he goes downstairs and one of them, person he's got into it before, is roughing up another person who's actually been shot. Um, and JD sort of has to take over the scene. He's like, "I'm the lead on this. Get the hell out of my place." Treats him like a human being. There's going to be a lot more of this. Is going to be not the typical case for JD. He has to be both the cop to do things the correct way and the black man. So he has another young officer whose name escapes me right now. That he asks like, "Hey, how long have you been on the force?" And he's like, "Not too long." And he's like, "I wish you had a little bit more time under your belt because we are in for a world of hurt here." Unfortunately to them, and he's talking about all these white officers, there's no difference between the good black folks and the bad black folks. And so in this room, when they look at this, they're going to just group them all together. And so the way that he was just treating this man who was shot and was clearly a victim is going to always be the case. And so I need you to be on your best game 100%. And you and I are going to have to be the ones that sort of can decipher between these are the good black people and these are the bad black people. Because none of them are going to do enough due diligence to decipher between the two. That's a great little story beat because these are sort of the only two black officers that we really see in this. And I would imagine at that time, it was an added weight to be an officer where you have to both be the blue line piece of it, but you also have to be like, "Hey, there's a there's a way to respond to black folks that the care that we can give that the typical white officer cannot, or not cannot, chooses not to." Meanwhile, Frank is having a meeting of minds. The Black Mafia is all sort of gathered up together, and Frank is telling them all to stand down. I got a lead off of Lena. I know basically Lena dropped dime on Chicken Man, and so now he's going headfirst to try to find Chicken Man. Like, let me just talk to him, let me find him. And so he's basically causing a shitstorm, but he doesn't want to blow it up too much because if he does, it's going to bring more eyes on them. But so he's telling the Black Mafia, like, "Hey, to stand down. I got it from here. I will let you know when I find out more information. Just go back to your respective cities and let me figure it out." Most of them are kind of like begrudgingly okay. One of them is like, "No, this is some bull. Like, you brought me to this party under your name, under your guise, and I got robbed. And I don't know what the hell you think is going on, but I'm not just going to go back and say, 'Hey, Frank's got it,' when we all look like fools. The Black Mafia now holds no more weight because we just got robbed and now just have to stand by and wait. Who's going to take us serious?" And he really kind of lays into him. Frank sort of just listens, takes it in, and then Rich Cadillac comes up to him when everybody leaves and just say, "Hey, look, we need to be sort of more understanding to everybody here that they're going to feel a type of way about the way that we're doing things and sort of understand where they're coming from and maybe not be as sort of dismissive to all of them." And Frank's like, "Hey, look, mother." And he goes into him, reason and riot. Like, the only reason you're really here is I respected the hell out of your dad. The one thing that your dad knew is when he knew to shut up and stand in line. And right now, you're questioning what I'm doing. If that's what you're going to do, I'm going to need you to get the hell out of here before I slap the shit out of you. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but in a way that Samuel L. Jackson can deliver that line, that's what he's doing to him and sort of puts him in his place. Now, I don't know how well that's going to be received because Cadillac was willing to do anything he can for Frank, sort of stood by his right hand as his right hand side. And for the first time, he sort of got pow powed. I don't know how a person's especially the way that each of these men carry themselves. I don't know if that's not going to bite Frank in the butt as we go along. Chicken Man gets a read on Lena. He talks to Silky, who is freaking out because Frank's coming down hard on him. Talks to Silky. He's like, Silky, I think I figured out. Lena, she wasn't one of the ladies that I brought here myself. He remembers that. I think she grabbed my wallet. He plays it all out in his head. He's like, let me go find out where she is. He goes to her workplace, winds up getting scammed a little bit to figure out where Lena stays to go to the repass for her. Because it's gotten out all over the news that Lena is dead, which plays a piece into the one part of this episode that does not have police work is the actual robbers. Mac and all of those guys meet up to basically break down the money and see how much money they have, and they count out that they have over $1 million. Basically, it's almost like 800 or something. It's several thousand in cash, and then the rest are in like jewelry and all that stuff, which equals out when appraised out to $1 million. They learned then that Lena died. Her brother, who's there, freaks out, gets super emotional, and it's at that point that Max says, "Okay, this money is hot. Let's all wait a minute. Let's all go back to what we normally do, our regular lives, act like nothing's happened. You need to go be with your family, and then let's reconvene." And Mac and Miles stay back with the money to make sure that it's on watch. As they get to, I lead with that because as I have to put that in place because when Chicken Man gets to the house to the repass, he sees that Lena's brother is there and sees that he's wearing the same shoes that one of the robbers, who they're all masked up, one of the robbers was wearing that night. So he immediately makes a call to Silky to be like, hey, tell Frank, get his people here, get them here immediately. I'm going to hold him here as much as I can. And so he keeps an eye on him. Her brother pours out his heart. As he's pouring out his heart, JD shows up to this repass as well. And he gets a read on Chicken Man, sees that he's there. But JD's there for her brother. And he's going there to say, hey, look, I need to talk to him. I need to bring him in. The mom or the mother is like, no, you're not taking him. And then Chicken Man sort of steps in. He's like, nope, you're not taking him. Started gets in, but basically he wants to be arrested. If he's leaving there, he wants to be arrested with him so that he can keep an eye out on where he's going. And so they both get arrested. Eventually, Chicken Man gets released. When he gets released, he's basically begging to say, hey, release the kid, release the kid, release the kid. And JD's kind of like, well, I am curious as to why you're so concerned about releasing this kid. What have you gotten yourself into? He's like, I don't think you're smart enough to have come up with this heist, but I think you are dumb enough to have gotten yourself entangled in it. I think that's what's going on. And so he loses the kid, if you will, and he's now in police custody. And so he immediately goes to call Silky to be like, hey, he's not there. And it's like, yeah, we effed up. Frank and everybody showed up once you guys were gone. He's pissed, blah, 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 blah. So pissed, in fact, that Frank finally gets a hold of Chicken Man on the phone and with Silky. And he's like, you are a hard man to find. And because of his ties to Chicken Man, and because this whole thing is sort of exists because Silky introduced him to Chicken Man, he kills Silky while on the phone with Chicken Man. And so Chicken Man is starting to feel the heat more and some of the ramifications of what's going on. And yeah, it's a bit of a problem. Frank is trying to find any way that he can find where the hell Chicken Man is. So he goes to the house, or he sends people to his home with Faye. Faye and Vivian sort of stand off with them after they have a back and forth and learn more about each other and who Gordon is, and that he has a Gordon side and a Chicken Man side, and they both sort of exist, and that makes who he is as a whole. But they both about that life, and so when the door rings and there's two folks there, Faye immediately gears up her guns, loads it up, and then meets up at the front door, opens the door, it's just her, and then she's like, well, it's two of you and one of me, and then Vivian comes with her gun, and they move off for a little bit. So for now, they're going to leave that home alone. But it's clear that Faye needs to get up out of there. So at that point, Faye tells Vivian that you got to leave. Go out the back because I don't want them to see you leaving, but go out the back. But this is where our time splits. And so her whole point is like, I need to get my family together because we need to get out of here. It's not safe here. Once Silky's dead, Chicken Man returns home and sort of like, hey, I got to clean this up. I got to go there. And he sees that Faye is leaving. Faye's leaving with the family. And like, I'm out. I don't care. She essentially says like, I don't care what you do with your family outside, like with you outside. Don't bring it home. Like, you are now endangering our kids. When you do that, there's a problem. And he says, hey, just give me the chance to fix it. Give me the chance to actually take care of this and fix this. I can fix it. And so he still feels like there's a way out. And he's going to sweet talk and try to do everything he can to get out of this. But he's pretty deep in the poo poo right now, if you will. And so the one key line that happens here is like, well, who's going to fix it? Is it Chicken Man or is it Gordon? And he's like, well, both. And for her, that's the first time that she feels that he's said anything of honest truth to her in years. He's clearly lived two different lives and has lied about it to both. So both Vivian and Faye don't know who the true Gordon Chicken Man is. They both have a version of it that fits what it is that they need. But he gets in the car with the kids and the family, and they go off to a seedy hotel that is just not a place that any kids or family should be, but it is a place that is sort of off the radar that, at least for now, Frank won't find. It's important to note that in this, Frank sort of sends out a bounty across the city to say, hey, I'm giving money. I'm throwing money around to anybody that can give me information on where Chicken Man is. So that seedy hotel ain't going to be safe for long. It's important to note that Andre, one of the robbers' uncle, is a mechanic, but also a person that flips stolen merchandise and can get appraised and get money back for it. Andre goes to go see his uncle and say, hey, how much can you flip for? He brings out a piece of the jewelry that he somehow got away from Mac and Miles. And his uncle's like, hey, get the hell out of here. Because he's like, I don't know if you have anything to do with that heist, but I know where that comes from. And I don't want any parts of that. So get that out of here. Later, he is one of the first few folks that is approached by Frank's team to sort of say, hey, we're throwing around money. Let me know if you know where the Chicken Man is, where I can get the whereabouts. And so I don't think there's a lot that's going to keep him from being selling out his nephew, if you will. Like, I feel like that's going to be sort of the leak that happens there. The last sort of piece of this episode, there's two, is that JD continues his police investigation. As he brings him in, he's basically tightening the screws on Lena's brother, saying, hey, were you in on this? Where is this? Like, you've already made your bed, and Lena's got is gone. You can make some parts of this right. Can you tell us where everything is, where the money is? Eventually, he does. So JD and his other young black officer go to the holding spot for the money. Mac and Miles make them out in the window, and then they try to escape. And so they get away. And JD's kind of like, crap, we lost him. He goes back to the precinct, and mind you, he told the officers there at the precinct, hey, make sure this kid gets back into holding. He gets there and asks, like, hey, did you guys move the kid that was in the interrogation room? And they're like, sorry, we've been busy. Now, they haven't been. They're just sitting around shooting shit. But he's like, no, we have not. He goes in to try to open the door, and the door won't move. It's having a hard time budging. He kind of tries to push it in. And unfortunately, the kid's, he's taking his own life. It's just too much to deal with. One, part of it probably is this. He doesn't want to live in a life without his sister. That's how close they were. But two, diming out Mac and these guys, he's going to die. There's two other folks that have been coming after him. Frank eventually will be coming after him. And then I think Mac and Miles would also be coming after him. So he just knows that his life, he's not long for this anyway. Screw it. I'll give you the money and I'm gonna get up out of here. I'm done. And then the last piece, Vivian makes it to her home, which I just felt is a terrible idea for her. But she makes it back to her home with just herself and no sort of bodyguards or protection, and is immediately met with people from Frank's team. And so now she is either captured. I don't think dead, but they're definitely going to capture her to try to suss out Chicken Man. And so now we're going to be at a point where just Gordon leave his family alone to go try and protect Vivian, his side piece. And so which one takes precedence, Gordon or Chicken Man? I think this is a great episode, probably my favorite so far. We dealt with the fallout in the first three. We had the beginning, the middle, and the end of the heist, and now we're slowly dealing with the fallout. Everybody's sort of scattering and doing their own thing. We're seeing that Frank's hold on the Black Mafia is strong, but they're starting to question some of the things that he's doing. And the longer that it takes to get a hold of Chicken Man or figure out who's exactly responsible, the weaker I think his strong hold becomes. Chicken Man is going to lose his family. The way that he's doing things, the way that he's operating, he has now put them in danger. So for the first time, his side hustle, or side quests, and side holes, if you will, have all come to have a negative effect on his home. And JD, poor Detective Hudson, is he's in a world where he is the sole black person in a world where no one really on this police force really truly cares about the humanity of these people. The only reason they want this to go away is because his commissioner, his captain, says, "Hey, I put you here because you're the black guy. Deal with this black stuff. And this is getting bigger than it needs to be. The headlines are getting large. Finish this quickly." And that's the only thing. They don't really care about the people. They care about the ramifications and the headlines that are sort of going with it. But yeah, great episode. Great episode. I am fully invested in this. And hopefully, timing wise, these should be coming out more on time than before. Although there's a lot of shows that I'll be talking about going forward. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name that's on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that plays podcasts. We're there, like always. I got my ticket. You got yours.